Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, tryna live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent on my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that D-Rex. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, tryna live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, tryna live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, shit the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Bitcoin getting a push above our previous value area high and getting a little bit of a push into our major key level of resistance, guys. We're getting a bit of a pullback from that key level of resistance we looked at on Thursday. So I wanted to cover today, guys. We got money flow in an absolute bing-bong choppy situation. So today I want to cover the bullish case versus the bullish case versus the bearish case. I thought I said bearish. Bullish case versus the bearish case. Where is the key level that is holding us back from sending Bitcoin into the low to high 70s, potentially $77,000? I'm going to show you the exact level we need to break and flip into support in order to see that move up. And with our money flow, at least on the daily, being still in the red, are we going to be able to see a continuation down? So we'll cover that on the bearish case. And if we do see that, what is my plan? I'm going to show you the three major key levels I'm looking at for my next bigger trades. Of course, we'll be looking for the scalps in the day trades. But right now, as we chop around, there are three major levels I'm going to be looking at. And again, that one to the upside could hold us back from a very big move up. So shout out to the Mafia. Welcome in. Let's see. We got... What does that say? Drum Hop TV. Welcome in. We got Fabio in the chat. Good to see you in here. Theo Rodriguez. Welcome in, brother. Good to see you. Let's see. We got Flippa Frank, Jesse in the chat. Just saw Jesse in the premium Discord or the premium live stream. It's like, I swear I saw you 5 minutes ago, bro. But shout out to Jesse. Welcome in. We got Darren Does Things holding it down. We got our mods in the chat, guys. Show them some love. We got H-Bar Moonboy. Said you never play the Up or Down song anymore. Shout out to H-Bar Moonboy. It's in their requests. We will play that tomorrow. I know everybody loves that song. I'll drop that. I'll drop that in the waiting room tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me. I don't have it readily available on the Stream Deck. I got to download it and get it on the Stream Deck so I can play it every day. But let's see. We got Shirley Sound in the chat. Good to see you. Welcome in. Rockstar Cola said, "What up, what up, Frankie?" Hands being sat on. Yeah, shout out to Rockstar, guys. We are in a bit of chop here, and to be honest, with money flow chopping around the way it is right now, you'll see the big levels that I'm looking at are areas of interest. But right now, we're in a bit of a tricky situation. I'll show you guys exactly how I'm positioned, and of course, cover those key levels. Shout out to Ozgun. Welcome in, and Crypto A80. Talk about an A80 Supra, bro. I saw a Mark IV Supra, guys, this weekend, driving my Mark V Supra. I low-key ducked. I was like, oh, my God, a Supra. Don't look at me, bro. I know you have the real one. But anyway, with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and see if we can call this next move on Bitcoin and hopefully up or down, sideways, left or right. Hopefully we can get out of this choppiness sooner than later. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are. If you tuned into the content on Thursday, you will know my overall plan here. Let me pull up our previous value here real quick. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Current VP. Previous VP. I changed the name of it. Couldn't find it for a second. But here we are, guys. As Bitcoin got the drop down to this value area high, sitting at about $63,300. You guys will know last week we were looking at a very key level here, which was going to be the golden pocket. We had a couple of areas of levels of confluence here. Pull this from the higher low to the high. Golden pocket retracement. We also had our weekly MPOC, which I'm going to take off the chart here because it's now tapped. But just to give you guys a little bit of context on how we got to where we are right now, of course, we did get the rejection from the $67,000 level, which, of course, we were long for down here from about $61,000. We rode that into our next major level of resistance, which was sitting here between the value area low and the POC of our range. Pulled up from a higher time frame so you guys can see that. Of course, we had the short setups there in the premium Discord from this zone. I even mentioned it in my market update where I was sharing my trading plan with you guys, saying the next major key area to look for shorts is between the value area low and the POC. Once we broke above that $65,000 key level right here, we were looking for a fast move into this next major zone. Very simply put, we had a fast move down, which oftentimes leads to a very fast move up. That is exactly what we saw, and we've now seen a very nice correction from that level. So shorts absolutely slapped from up here. However, on the way to the downside, guys, there was one big level that we were looking at, and it was sitting here between the golden pocket, weekly MPOC, and value area high. And the goal here was to hopefully get a push into this level and hold it for a potential higher low before seeing price continue the uptrend into higher prices. And I will cover this, again, the more bullish case scenario, which could be calling for a move into about 71,500 and potentially to fill this entire volume profile in full up to $75,000 to $77,000. And I'll let you guys, I'm going to give you the bullish case, I'll give you the bearish case, all the key levels, my plan, but then I'll let you guys kind of know which way I'm leaning, because again, it is a bit of a difficult scenario when we start to take a look at money flow. It's a choppy mess, guys. It's a choppy mess. But at the end of the day, we got that pullback to the golden pocket, and of course, we slipped it, right? There was absolutely no support here. We melted right through this level. I was personally looking to add to my long position at this key level of support. We melted right through it, so I did not add at first. But as I was describing in the content last week, on Thursday, right, the only way I would be interested in adding to this long position at this point after melting through the support, right, ideally we would come down, hold this as support, right, for a higher low and a potential higher high, which I do see as the statistical lower probability as of right now, but we melted right through that support. And then I mentioned in the live stream on Thursday that only way I would add to that long position was if we were able to get out of this volume profile. Once we get pushed below this value area high, guys, the bias locally has to be bearish until proven otherwise. What does until proven otherwise mean? Well, as long as we stay inside this profile, right, the overall anticipation is to come to the POC, lose the POC, come down to the value area low. So the only way I was willing to add to that long position was if we were able to get out of this volume profile and flip it to support, which we obviously did. I even talked about a long setup in the premium Discord for anyone who might have not been long, to look for longs on the reclaim of this key level of support, which obviously we got like one test, two tests, three tests, went down for one more, and then finally we got our push up to our next major key level. And last week, we covered that key level here on the channel. And just to give some context here, obviously that major key level was sitting, let me pull it up here. Where's it at? Bada boom. Golden pocket, 786, value area low. And let me just take this off the chart real quick. Take that local profile off the chart. Take these weekly MPOCs off. Of course, why was I interested in this level for a rejection? We've already gotten about a 2% pullback from there, so I'm not telling you too short Bitcoin right now. Obviously, the setup was as we were pushing into this zone. But why is this a key level? Well, overall, guys, when we take a look at money flow, daily money flow was continuing into the red last week, right? Now, this is obviously going to point more towards a continuation to the downside. Money flow always indicates the longer-term trend, and in which case, with this daily money flow in the red, we do have to be careful of a continuation of the overall downtrend, eventually looking for a break below $60,000. Now, this becomes a little bit difficult because even with the premium Discord earlier today, I was telling them, I am going to be taking the money flow with a grain of salt. It's very choppy. Daily money flow is absolutely in the red. This obviously points for a continuation of the downtrend, and any bounces to the upside have to be looked at as lackluster retracements for potential lower highs and potential lower lows to eventually come in, which obviously right now could still be the case, right? Value area low, golden pocket 786. When I'm looking for lower highs and lower lows, the golden pocket 786 retracements are typically the big areas that I'm going to look at. Currently, we are getting a bit of a rejection from here, and with the daily money flow, I would say that idea of potentially coming down to make the new low is still in the cards. Now, when we come down to some of these lower time frames, last week at the end of the week, we started to see the daily money flow in the red, and we saw these lower medium time frames, or medium hourly time frames, start to agree. Right, we started coming down, money flow started coming out, but of course, money flow has now come back into the green. I would still say here on the 4-hour, this is still generally trending to the downside. If you're having trouble figuring out if money flow is trending out or trending up, right, you could always just draw a simple trend line, right? This is still still technically putting in lower highs. But at the end of the day, we have the crossover into the green, adding a lot of mud to the water, right? Daily money flow coming out, 4-hour money flow coming up, and it's only getting choppier here, guys. When we take a look at the 8-hour here, you can see money flow has now crossed into the green on the 8-hour, which again is pointing against the daily. 6-hour money flow came back deeper into the green here over the weekend as we pushed up. So it's not, when I see money flow, guys, I like to see all the time frames kind of line up, right? Money flow on the 4-hour crosses red, say this is your zero line on market cipher B. 4-hour money flow crosses red, right? Then the 5-hour is usually following suit, probably just starting to cross over. The 8-hour is getting close to crossing into the red. The 10 and the 16-hour are following closely behind that. I like to see everything kind of following along, right? Confluence. I like to see the low time frames come out and then have those higher time frames following suit. We do not have that right now, right? So it's very hard. The lower low is still in the cards here. However, that 8-hour money flow is just completely stepping in the opposite direction, right? This would make me indicate, when I'm looking at this 8-hour by itself, I'm saying, hey, money flow's crossing green. My overall anticipation is higher lows for higher highs, right? But then I look at the daily, and I'm saying, well, you know what? Lower highs and lower lows are more likely. So money flow is very, very chopped up. This does not stop us, obviously, from trading those key levels, right? Finding the shorts at key resistance, making some money on the way down. But to have a strong directional bias here, I do have to say, the daily does have a funny way of deleting the noise, right? Obviously, the daily is a much higher time frame than the 4-hour and even the 8-hour. So I would still say, and on top of that, just from a structural perspective, let me just hide this resistance here real quick. Right, we originally got the push up to $67,000 to put in a rejection. We've gotten out of the volume profile. The value area low is always going to be resistance until proven otherwise. Then when we see that confluent with the 786 golden pocket, money flow technically trending out, that's always going to be a place where we're interested in a pullback. Here's your first lower high. This could be a second lower high to just continue that overall downtrend. But again, if I see that daily money flow in the red, I like to see the 8-hour following, right? But it's just doing the complete and total opposite. So it is very difficult to give like a really clean bias off of money flow right now. This happens from time to time when you're just in super choppy price action. You're not going to get the clearest signals. And that's why I want to focus today on the key levels and, just very simply the levels I'm waiting for to look for those next trades, right? Because money flow isn't always going to give you the perfect signal, in which case that's where you can focus more on the key levels and the volume profiles. So for me personally, I am still holding my short position, originally opened at $81,000, took some profit on the retracement up to $67K. I did add a little bit to that position, so I am holding that short position. My entry is still up here around 71 to 72K. So I'm going to continue holding that, right? I got daily money flow coming in the red, right? I'm going to hold that until we can get a reclaim of these very key levels. And again, this one up here is going to be very, very important because it could hold us back from a very, very large move to the upside. So in the bearish case, money flow plays out. In that, obviously, you'd have to say the 8-hour is going to completely fake out. I really don't want to stick on money flow too much because it's very confusing. But in the bearish case, money flow is in the red, indicating the downtrend continuation. If we are going to put in that lower high, we knew that this was going to be a very key level to look at. So if we do get the continuation down, I'm going to continue to hold that short position. I already have profits locked in. I will stop myself out in profit if we start to come up and play with these levels. I'll show you exactly what I'm going to be looking for here to indicate whether we're going to get a rejection or a massive push up. But with this money flow coming out, I don't really see a reason to close this trade when my entry is still up here. So I'm going to continue to hold that. And I did, as I discussed last week in the content, add a little bit to my long position as we got the retest of this value area high. Right? So I think there is a good argument for the bullish case and the bearish case. The bullish case is if we could get back inside this value area low, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC. Now, once we get up to this POC, we also know we have a lot of liquidity sitting above about $67,500. Once we get up here, push into the POC, I think there's a high probability chance that we will at least come seek out this liquidity. We have some setups that we're looking at in the premium Discord, and for short positions, in my opinion, of course, unless you are short from here, I think this is the next place to look. We have some very specific confirmations that we're looking for because we could come up, sweep out that liquidity, which will give us an opportunity for a scalp short at first. And then, of course, as the money flow develops, we can identify whether that's higher probability to give us a big dump. But this key level, in my opinion, this is the biggest level above us. It's about $68,000. We have the liquidity sitting up there. I'll just draw it on this wick here, right? About $68,000. If we get up there and we can reclaim this POC / $68,000 psychological level, we have a very fast move down, which could very easily turn into a very fast move up. We talk about this all the time. I covered it in the beginning of the stream. Fast move down. Hey guys, if we break 65K, I will expect a very fast move up. It's exactly what we get, right? So it's a very similar scenario. Just like 65K was the big level down here, I would say $68,000. I am not, although these are targets, right? I am not interested in these coming in until we can flip $68,000. There is not a lot above us, right? The only other level we have between us and $75,000 to $77,000 is going to be the daily MPOC sitting right here at $71,440. But contextually, when we look at these volume profiles, what does this start to look like? Right? We also have a daily MPOC up there, which adds to the resistance. Like I said, we will have short opportunities up here, but we have to be careful, right? Because once we get into this volume profile, very simply put, here's your volume profile, deviate below the lows, can't get above the POC, we get back out. At the end of the day, in order for me to start calling for $76,000, $75,000, $77,000 up here for the fulfill the volume profile, not only do we have to reclaim the value area low, but the POC is very close to the range low. It makes this a very large zone, right? It's the original zone we looked at for the shorts up here at 67K. Obviously playing out very nicely. We have some money flow coming up. Could the trend continue to the upside? Sure. But in order for that to give us a massive move, we have to flip 68K. Sweep out the liquidity. If we could hold above it, again, nothing really here until 71,440. And then once you're up there, looking at the volume profile, flip the value area low. PLC is next. Once we can hold that PLC as support, next major target within the profile is the value area high. This sits at about $77,158. So from a volume profile perspective, this is 100% going to be the biggest level to break above in order to trigger a much bigger move to the upside. And even if we don't make it up here, it could still trigger a very fast move into the daily MPOC, right? Because not all volume profiles fill perfectly. Here, we get in, can't get out, nuke it to the value area low. It doesn't always play out that pretty, right? Sometimes you can get in, flip the POC, 68K to support, come to 71.4, right? And then at this point, as long as we could stay above the POC value area low, the doorway to the value area high is open, right? So this will give us opportunities to look for potential day trades to the downside, cash in on some money. We could still be holding our longs for much lower to potentially capitalize on that big move up. So bullish case, very simple. Obviously, you have a little bit of work to do here. You got to get above the low, got to get above the POC. And then once we get up here, that is going to be that big trigger, in my opinion, that could start that bigger move up to 77K. Now, the problem I have with this is the daily money flow. Money flow indicates the overall trend every single time. 80% of the time, I should say. So, of course, I am a little wary of that being the situation. Of course, you have your 8-hour money flow crossing into the green, so you have kind of conflicting signals here. So, very simply put, at the end of the day, guys, the hard truth is either case can play out. And I'm going to show you below us what I want to lose in order to call for the very high probability move to the downside. But I'm going to have to say, I'm going to stick on the side of the daily money flow. It is kind of isolated at this point. It's in the red. This looks like it could continue down. But even looking at the 16-hour, this is technically trending up. 12-hour, technically trending up. 10-hour crossing into the green, 8-hour crossing into the green. So you can just see the conflicting signals here. Doesn't stop us from taking the trades. But it's just very hard for me to come up here and be like, oh my God, everything is pointing to the downside, guys. There's the lower high, and we're getting a lower low. It's very hard for me to be super confident on that just because of the information we have on the charts. But just to let you know how I'm positioned, I have the short position. I am continuing to hold it. I haven't closed my short position thinking that we're definitely getting the move up. And my long position originally opened at $61,000, has now been slightly compounded on that flip of support. Shared that exact plan in the market updates and the live streams last week, and just following the plan. So there you go. That is the bullish case. You got a bit of work to do up here. Set your alerts at $68,000. That is the moment of truth. Is it going to end up in sweeping liquidity and continuing down, or are we going to be able to flip that support? I won't know that until we get closer to those levels and I can look at the live price action. But in my opinion, right, we shared the next major level of resistance, which was right here. We're currently rejecting. I think above you, I'm personally not interested because once we get in here, PLC is likely. The closer we get to this liquidity sitting up here, the stronger that magnet is going to become, right? So once we get up here, it's like I see a very high probability to at least come sweep that liquidity. And then as we push up here, we're going to start looking at money flow, look at all the signals, understand if we're going to likely flip this or if it looks like if we get a short opportunity, right? If we don't get the confirmations, we don't take the short, probably continue up. If we get the short confirmations, we'll take it as a scalp or a day trade shorter term position, right? Because you do have to be careful as you're inside the volume profile, right? I typically like to look for big shorts at the value area high and longs at the value area low. So this would be looked at as a shorter term play, right? Potentially down to the POC. If we hold that, we can continue up. Lose the POC, technically value area low, you're still inside the range, which still does keep those higher targets open. So this may just play out as a day trade or a scalp. I won't even really cover that too much just because I like to keep the bigger, higher time frame levels for the live stream, and then we'll scalp and day trade in the Discord. It's a little bit more nitty gritty. But that's the bullish case, guys. Big $68,000 level. Flip that, send it, right? Now, if the bearish case plays out, very simply put, pull up our volume profiles to the downside. We're using the volume profile above to figure out the context if price comes up, right? To the downside, we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to look at the volume profiles, obviously, below us, right? So I would say right now, the biggest key level to look at is going to be still the $63,300 zone, right? We do not, just like down here, we did not want to get accepted in here, which wound up not being the case. If we pull up that golden pocket, I believe I covered this last week as well. You don't always get a beautiful tap of support, right? Sometimes you can momentarily lose it. When you look at this from a weekly time frame, you can see our weekly candle closed above that golden pocket, right? So technically this support is holding currently. Makes it a little bit difficult to actually take a position there because you're not going to wait for a weekly candle closure, or I personally wouldn't do that. But we wound up getting the wick. We closed back above the golden pocket. This is technically holding, and you're also holding on top of the value area high. This is still, in my opinion, going to be the biggest key level to look at, right? If we end up coming back down, we retest this value area high, you got to bounce here. If you can't bounce here and you get stuck back in the range, I don't expect this golden pocket to hold up a second time. Get stuck inside the profile. That makes the next likely target, the POC 786, sitting between about, call it 62 and 61,748. Might have an opportunity for some lackluster bounces there, right? But overall, you are going to be expecting a big push down towards that value area low. So as long as we hold on top of 63.3, for the most part, right, you could always wiggle below it and reclaim. Wiggle below it, reclaim. But once we get stuck in here, again, we can look at money flow. Maybe we'll have some serious signals here that makes it a high probability of a rotation down. Again, I don't have high hopes. At this point, we don't really have, I mean, this golden pocket is tapped. I could take that off the chart. Whoops. We had the weekly MPOC here, which of course is no longer there. That is tapped, right? So you basically just have the value area high. Let me pull this local fib real quick. You got a little golden pocket there as well. So, yeah, I would say 63.4 to about 63.3, major key level. I'd be okay with little wicks down there, but of course, within the volume profile, guys, get stuck in here, can't break out. Once you lose that 786, very high probability, gravitational pull towards about $62,000. Once we get down there, the overall anticipation is, sure, this is support, but overall, I would really prefer to see that full volume profile rotation. And when we look at this from just a horizontal support perspective, you guys can see daily MPOC, weekly MPOC, weekly horizontal, daily, no monthly MPOC, right? Here's your key horizontal level to the upside, if we continue down, get accepted into that range, right? There's just, these are your next horizontal levels. These tend to act as magnets for price. And of course, once you get into that volume profile, right there on the value area low, right? It is also our 786 retracement. Take off that golden pocket, right? Your 786 Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high also comes in there at the value area low. So once we get stuck in here, I just tend to expect a full volume profile rotation. At this point, your medium time frame money flow, like the 4 hour, could be headed into the red. And I just feel that once we get stuck in here, if we cannot hold this key zone, there's going to be a high probability of a push down towards your next macro key levels, which sits all the way down here in the $61,000 zone. So hold above here. We have an opportunity to come up to that 68K level. Once we get up to 68K, we can look for the potential bigger breakout through the larger profile. But until then, in my opinion, right, there's no reason to be looking up towards 68K at this second because we are still not inside the value area, right? This value area low is resistance until proven otherwise. High, low, potential lower high for a potential lower low, right? On the way down, you know, again, I'm not going to be worried about catching long positions here personally because I'm already long from lower. But when you pull up that golden pocket, right, like once we lose this zone, I'll mark this out so you guys can get it on your chart. 63.4 to about 62,885. Once we start to lose this, I'm really expecting this fib is pulled from this low. I'm really expecting to take out this low. Right? And where's the PLC? Just underneath that low. So just very simply, get accepted into the profile, expecting to come back down towards that PLC for more than one reason. Fibonacci perspective, volume profile perspective, and again, maybe your money flow is coming out at that point. So if we come down, this is the biggest level to look at. If we come back up, get above the value area low, see if we can push up towards that $68,000 liquidity. Of course, I'll check in with you guys probably 100 times before we get up here. You know, we'll be live. If it happens tomorrow, we'll be live. If it happens the next day, we'll be live. But these are, in my opinion, are the biggest levels to watch. I'm not telling you to take trades. I'm not giving you exact setups. Do that in the premium. But I would say really, these are the next big areas of interest. Other than that, it's very choppy. I would not be super amped on a bounce from here, personally. Can you get the bounce? Sure. Again, the reason I'm not super amped on it is because money flow is super chopped up. This is a very difficult trading environment. If you're out there, you're getting stopped out. Shout out to the premium Discord. We had a bunch of people short from that. And actually, I think someone in the live stream here must have gotten the level from the market updates. But you know, I wouldn't be concerned about chopping yourself up here. Like, I am only going to be interested if we come down here or we get up here personally. Other than that, I'm letting the trades I'm holding play out. They both have profits locked in. They're very comfortable positions. But these are going to be the biggest levels that I'm looking at. If we get down to 61K, my personal opinion here, guys, is, of course, anytime I get inside, we're just in between two profiles, right? If we come back in here and go to the low, this is typically where I look for long positions at the value area low. Very high probability place to find a bounce. But I have to say, from a long-term perspective, I start to get less and less confident that we're going to get a massive bounce from here. If we get down here, I can almost guarantee you when we come up here on the live stream, I'm going to be talking about it doesn't look good. Money flow is all coming out. I'm expecting to take out $60,000, which, of course, is in line with that daily money flow. So I think if we get down here, it's looking pretty bad. As long as we sit between these profiles, guys, it's kind of a crapshoot, to be honest. Are we going to get accepted? But we have the beautiful context, right? Are we going to get accepted in here, head up towards that $68,000 POC level, or are we going to get accepted in here for the big drop down here? And very naturally, I will only be interested here and only be interested here. Everything else, in my opinion, is noise. Of course, you could find local scalp positions, etc. But for the next big move, right, if I'm going to, like, where is Bitcoin's next big move up? You got to get above 68K. Where is Bitcoin's next big move down? Come down to 61K, can't hold it. That's your big move down towards 58,000. And for longs, I would say I'm like half interested in this value area low for day trades and scalps. But when it comes to the bigger high time frame positions, massive moves, high percentage moves, I really won't be interested until we get down to the $58,000 to $54,000 zone. These are pretty much the same exact levels I covered in my trading plan video that I dropped last week or maybe the week before when we were on our way up here, right? Guys, I'm interested in shorts here or longs down here. Obviously, we got the push up first, so I added to my short, made some extra money, and in the same kind of way, next big level to the upside. Whoops. Next big level that I would be interested in for big bounces, macro levels, starts at $58,000. We'll view this if price comes down there, right? If we can get confirmations here, I will look for the positions. And then if this doesn't hold up, we got 56.4 all the way down to 54.7. Now, the nice thing, my personal preference, right? Not necessarily saying this is the highest probability, although statistically speaking, I would still have to say I am very cautious for a move down. I would really prefer personally to get the bigger move down, push in here, because this does two things, right? Number one, we hit that major key level. Number two, we could potentially set up for very nice daily bullish divergences into a major monthly MPOC, which would be very nice to look for a large move to the upside. And then maybe if we come down first, then we can start to use this as the context for the bigger push to the upside. And this would be a massive, massive, massive move, right? 32% pump to the upside. Huge, huge key level. So mark these off on your chart. $68,000, I would say 67.7 to 68K, potential scalp short opportunity / if we could flip it, the doorway to much higher prices. To the downside, you have the 63.3 value area high as your key level of local support. And then underneath that, 61K. We'll cover the $58,000 level if and when we have to deal with it, right? It's still very, very far away, so I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. So I'm going to come into chat here real quick. I hate these choppy environments, guys. They are, I like to come up here with super confident, all the money flow is pointing in one direction. I love to do that, guys. But we just really do have a super, super choppy scenario. And seeing that 8-hour money flow cross into the green, wow, that's bullish. Daily money flow in the red, that's bearish. It's just very, very difficult. So we have the bullish case and the bearish case with my exact plans on what I want to see. Lose 63.3, very likely drop to 62 to 61K, get above 68K, 71.5 to $77,000. Doorway. Yeah, shout out to the Joe Rogan experience. Joe Ragon experience. Shout out to Joe. Said, Frankie, when you get a chance, can you explain the premium group? Where do I sign up? What exactly am I signing up for? Yeah. Shout out to Joe Ragon. Shout out to you, bro. I'll cover that in just a second. Actually, shout out to anybody. Joe, if you want to check out the premium Discord and you want to do like a little bit of a, I don't know, I wouldn't really call it a free trial, but if you come into the free Discord, where is it at? Bada boom. If you come on into the free Discord and come on over to the dining room, you can get in here for free. It's like our freemium option. If you use one of the affiliate links that we have for our exchanges, you could come in here, click unlock access, click the exchange that you signed up for, enter your user ID, just read through the directions here on how to get in. And if you're already trading under our link, you can get in here. We don't kick you out. It's infinite. You only get one premium post per week about. Sometimes they're setups, sometimes they're TA, but it's a really good way if you want to just like see how we do the premium Discord. It's not a signals group. I don't believe in signals groups. I've explained this a million times. I won't go into it. Obviously, it's not a signals group. I give my personal trade setups. I'll actually show the last post that we put in here, which I believe were these last two levels of resistance. So this 65.5 level-ish were the last two shorts. This one actually played out for 2%. This one is now playing out for 2%. Obviously, both of these have a potential target of below $60,000. But you get one post about per week in here. We never kick you out. It's a good way to get a taste of what we do. Right, here's some other setups that we posted, etc. So you can come test this out for free, but it is not a signals group. I don't just say, everybody buy right now, everybody sell right now, right? If it was that easy, I would have never learned how to trade, right? It's not sustainable. It's not real. I actually teach you my systems and how I actually trade to turn you into a self-sufficient trader. So you can come check this out. And if you wanted to join the premium, you can go to frankiecandlestrading.com or check the link in the description. You'll be able to get in through there. Let's see. Thoughts on the market cipher B1/16 playing out technically happened on the 2-hour 7-minute and the 3-hour 10-minute, 4-hour 15-minute may come next. Yes, if we look here a little bit more locally, let me turn off all these levels to simplify some stuff here. And I think sometimes it might help if I just draw these. Like, even if you just look at your current volume profile right now, right? Technically, pull to current price action. Once we get back in here, start losing the POC, which is very close to the 63.3 level, right? Next stop is going to be very likely the value area low, right? I like shorts at the highs. Never in a million years would I ever look for longs, longing into resistance like this. I always short into the highs, short into resistance, long into support. So from a very simple perspective, I would say start losing this level. Can't get above the POC. You're very close to losing that 63.3 level, which would very likely call you towards this value area low, which is, of course, also confluent with all these support levels. All right, so I think this is a very simple way to look at the chart. I actually already have this marked out. Just pull this to current price, slightly adjust it. All right, shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. So start getting accepted in here, lose the POC. Next likely place for price to go, POC, the $62,000 zone, lose the POC, value area low. Does that make sense? Now, also, 4-hour red dot is printing. There it is in all of its glory. Got about 2 hours and 38 minutes for that to confirm, but you got the 4-hour red dot, 15-minute money flow. And again, look at the choppiness here, right? Typically, I really like to see these set up nice and smooth, right? Nice big green 15-minute money flow wave, 4-hour red dot prints, money flow starts crossing red. However, technically, you do still have, there's your 15-minute money flow crossover into the red. There's your 4-hour red dot. You do have that technically in play right now. So I would say that is definitely valid. If this 15-minute money flow is already in the red, right, but if this continues out, you still got some time for that 4-hour red dot to print. And on the way down, really got to hold on top of that. I mean, really, 63.3 is going to call for that bigger drop down. Right, there's the current profile. And then when we look at our previous volume profile, which is just simply pulled from this previous value. You have a high, low, high, low, high. There's your previous value. That sits at 63.3. And when you pull it to current price action, of course, you get a little bit of a different range. But if I pull these up together, don't have an aneurysm, pull these up together, very simply put, once you lose that POC, I don't know. I don't love this level, right? At this point, number one, it's not a ton of confluence. Number two, at that point, you're already accepted into the bigger profile. I just feel that the draw to the $62,000 zone is going to be much higher probability. So whether you want to look at it from the previous range or you want to look at it from the current range, both are 100% valid. Just a different perspective to look at through price. So yeah, you do have the 15-minute money flow crossing into the red. 6-hour red dot looking to print. Yeah, just let this play out for me, honestly, guys. Just hate this chopped up money flow. Usually it's very clean, right? When we were up here in this previous volume profile, where is it? Right, when we're inside this macro profile, the theory is very simple. We knew once we came down to retest this value area high, this was the level we needed to hold. We couldn't hold it. We couldn't hold it at this point until we break out of this value area high. There is no reason to have a bullish bias. The bias is to get accepted into the range and fill the range in full on top of some extra deviation, right? But the difference here is you can see 4-hour money flow, big green wave. Money flow comes out. On this push to the downside, if I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame, this doesn't look good for a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. Why? Money flow is coming out, right? On top of that, you had your other higher time frame money flow, like the 10-hour, also crossing into the red. You had the 12-hour, also crossing into the red. Then the 16-hour, following suit, right? Then the daily, also following suit, aggressively trending to the downside. Everything was lining up here, right? And that's why when we broke below this value area high, it was like very simple bias here, guys. We're below the value area high. Money flow is looking like trash on a lot of time frames, right? 4-hour crosses first, then the 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, and then the daily following suit coming out, right? Everything is lining up like waves crashing, right? They're all following each other, which makes it a very simple bias to say, hey, if we can't get out here, look for the big drop down towards the value area low, right? All the money flow is calling for that continuation of the trend. Here, it's a much smaller range, but still the same theory. Pull it from the previous range, right? Same theory here. We come down, money flow comes out, then all of a sudden, squirt, 4-hour money flows back up. We got the 8-hour money flow crossing into the green. We don't have all the time frames similar to up here, all following in the same direction. It's very different. Just makes it a lot harder to call. But what do I do in these situations? Trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting. I will simply sit on my hands. If we come down here, I will be interested in longs. If we come up here, I will be interested in shorts, given I get the confirmations, right? If until that happens, right, I'm sitting on my hands in my current positions that I waited patiently for. Does that make sense? Oh my God, if we get a little pump here, I don't care. Oh my God, we get a little dump here, I don't care, right? I'm already positioned. So I was simply going to wait for these key levels to come in. And again, trying to give you guys some forethought on what I would expect. Once we get down here, of course, it's going to be a level we'll look for longs. But at this point, I think my bias would still be the bigger continuation down. So I would say, statistically speaking, I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. It's not often, but it does happen. I have to say, as of right now, we have a high, a low, a potential lower high on the value area low, rejection. I'd still have to say my favor is to the downside. If it continues up and we wind up getting the squeeze, that's totally fine. I have my compounded position from 61K. My entry is a little bit higher now. But if that does happen, it would, in my opinion, still be the lower probability scenario. But I will be covered on that long position. I'll stop out on the short in profit, and then the long can absolutely cook. Does that make sense? Let me come back in the chat here real quick. Yo, Rob the Crypto Snob, welcome in. He said, Mrs. Snob and I have been touring through Central Europe the past weeks. Started driving through southern Germany, enjoying Bavaria, and I don't know how to pronounce that word. Not an English teacher, guys. I'm just a trader. Then into Austria. Spend time at various places. Yo, shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob out there living his life. I love it. Shout out to Rob. Welcome in, bro. Love when you stop in, brother. Always a good time when you pop here. Everyone's always wishing you happy birthday, bro, even when you're not in the chat. Everyone just says happy birthday, Rob. He has a birthday every day, guys. It's like, I think he's like one of only 2 people on earth that have a birthday every day. Shout out to Rob. Welcome in, brother. Good to see you, man. Sounds like you're doing well. I would say I hope you're doing well, but it sounds like you're living your life, bro. Is there any indicator that mimics money flow? Obviously not exactly. Yeah, there's a few of them out there. Again, when I look at money flow, I'm looking at Market Cypher's money flow. So if you see differences between my money flow and your money flow, it's probably because you're not using the same indicator. But there's a few of them out there. The Mafia has a better idea of which ones are good and which ones are bad. For example, Lux Algo has money flow as well. This money flow is not bad. It's not better. It's not worse. It's just different. This is a bit more reactive to price, kind of like an EMA is more reactive than a simple moving average. This will cross over. Like if I pull these up on top of each other, you could see for the most part, right? It's a bit more reactive, right? This crosses over way before the Market Cypher money flow. Again, not bad or good, just different. You can see here, big green wave, overall continuation up on Lux Algo, right? You get a crossover, back into the red, back into the green, back into the red, back into the green. So it's just different. When I look at money flow, I'm looking at Market Cypher. Obviously, Lux Algo was paid. There are some other ones out there. I think Vu Manchu is one of them. You could search it here. It's similar. It's a little bit different, but I'm sure the Mafia probably has a better idea of that because I don't use I use Market Cypher, so I haven't really compared them too much. Let's see. Happy birthday, Rob. Shout out to Nirvana. Let's see here. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything here in the chat. Yeah, 3-hour 2-day Market Cypher B 1/16 short. Yeah, shout out to Kyle. We talked about this in the premium Discord. This is a higher time frame bearish Market Cypher B setup. And again, with choppy money flow, guys, not necessarily the, I do take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but if we pull up Market Cypher here, you can see potential. If we get this 2-day red dot, the 3-hour money flow would be in line. That would be the 1/16th, right? So 3-hour money flow in the red, 2-hour red dot. This could potentially set up. And another thing as well here, guys, like if I would just really prefer to take out these lows, there's a million different scenarios that can play out here, and I don't just want to sit here and cover every scenario. I feel like I've probably already covered too much. I'm not sitting here trying to figure out exactly which one's going to play out, right? Again, I am positioned. If we go up, I'll stop out of my short and profit. Long will continue to play. If we come down, I'll stop out of my long and profit. Short will continue to play. I'm not looking necessarily for new positions right now. Last one I was looking at was the key level we gave last week up here at 65,000, right? 65.5. Shout out to the dining room. I forgot I posted that in the dining room. So shout out to anybody in there. But, if we did end up coming, I would just love If we can't get back inside this profile, guys, and we put in that new low, not only could you get the daily bullish divergences, but you could also set up some really nice higher time frame bullish divergences down at these levels. And that's why I say these lower levels are much more interesting to me for big longs than down here locally. I'd really like to take out those lows. So you can see the 2-day potentially looking to set up there. Obviously, the daily bull div has plenty of time to form. 3-day, not really quite. But that 2-day and daily and 2-day bullish divergence could look really nice if we get down there, right? So what do? I set an alert there. As we push in, I recheck these time frames. Oh my God, we have low time frame entry triggers, and that 2-day bull div's looking to print. Hey, that could be a nice position to go ahead and fire on. And of course, this would be just a very simple volume profile setup, right? Whether it's the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 3-minute, the 2-minute, does not matter. When I look for volume profile setups, which of course is a deviation below the low, I like to see bullish confirmations at the low for a potential reclaim and then fill the volume profile. Does that make sense? Right? You get above the highs, you can look for your daily bearish divergences. There's your bearish signal above the highs of the range. Get back in, can't get back out, money flow comes out, fill it to the low. I'm always going to be looking for the same things down here. And if we can come take out that low with bullish divergences, this would be much more warranting, if that's how you use that word, at that point, I've deviated below the low. I have bullish confirmations on a high time frame. This is a large range. You're going to need those high time frame confirmations. You're below the range, high time frame confirmations. Hopefully the money flow can have some time to reset. At that point, we could start to see the money flow start to leak back up. On that bounce, if this money flow starts coming back up on the daily, we could start to look for that higher time frame trend to the upside. Right? So it's just like a beautiful volume profile setup if we can come down and take those lows. It's the exact same thing that we look at on the low time frame setups, right? Obviously, you're looking at a smaller range, but it's the same exact thing. Does that make sense? For example, over here, let's just take this for example. I'll use this because this was the most recent opportunity. I pulled this to current price action. This value area was obviously a little bit lower. I'll just pull it so you guys can see that, right? When we're looking at this range, right, what is happening? Push into the level, and I'll just adjust this for a second so it is nice and clean. Obviously, this has changed because I pulled the profile further to the right. Whoops. Am I looking for longs here? Never, right? This was that first major key area of resistance that we looked at. 2 major areas, this one and this one. We come up to the value area high. Bearish divergences, always going to be a higher probability scenario for a short. You've come into the key level, you see the bearish divergences, right? This is only one of many different confirmations you can see. That is a short setup, first major target, point of control of the range, boom. Beautiful magnetic rotation towards that PLC. Ended up ending in support for a big push up to our next key level, which has now gotten the rejection. So what happened here? Deviation above the high, bearish divergences, fire it to the PLC. When it happens to the downside, right, of course, let me just fix that range real quick. There we go. For example, down here at the value area low, what happens? We push into the low. We have the 1-hour bullish divergences, also 30-minute, but confirmations we were looking for in the premium was the 1-hour bullish divergence. We get it. At that point, you look to go to the POC and eventually the value area high for that full rotation. Same thing on the macro profile. Of course, this is a deeper deviation, but when it comes to the conditions I like to see, deviation below the low, bullish divergences. Again, this would be a higher time frame. On the way back up, we want to reclaim POC, value area high, send it up to 77K. This looks a lot cleaner, right? If we had these bull divs forming, I would probably be leaning more towards these medium time frame money flows coming into the green like the 8-hour to play out, right? But we don't really have those confirmations right now. So part of the reason why I really do like to take out, I would prefer personally, just my personal preference, market doesn't always have to give you what you want. Oftentimes it doesn't. But I would just love to take out those lows looking for the bull div. So there you go. Shout out to Crypto Cowpoke, said official XRP has pegged to $1.13. Shout out to Crypto Cowpoke. Maybe we'll take a look at XRP in just a minute. Yo, shout out to Amina, said Rob, I I am as well traveling the country with no destination in mind, just me and my dog, just going. I love the freedom. Shout out to Amina. That is awesome. Along with the doggo. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Daily SFP failed auction. Yeah, you could definitely, I assume you mean this. You could definitely consider that somewhat of a confirmation. Yeah, you could look at that as a confirmation. This daily bull div would just look so clean, right? So if we go down, right, let's say we had an SFP. Let's say we came down here, got the SFP and a daily bull div, and then it ended up failing and we came back down and there was no bull div about to print. If we put in a new low, I would no longer be interested in that, right? But because we don't have a div, I'm okay taking out this low again, right? And still looking for a bigger bounce to the upside. But yes, you did have some confirmation down here. You did have the SFP. That is 100% correct. Shout out to the Dusty Hunt. Welcome in, brother. Yes, shout out to Fabio. After I joined the Discord, I received two friend requests from Frankie's. It's scammers, right? Yes, 100% scammers. We were talking about that in the premium live stream earlier today. Please be careful. Please be careful out there, guys. If someone reaches out saying they're me, oh my God, I'm going to trade for you. Give me your seed phrase. Give me money. I will never ask you for money. I will never ask a community member of the Mafia to send me money ever. Unless you like buy a hat on the website or something or the Discord. That is different. But you have to go through our official links. I will never reach out to you and personally ask you to send me money ever. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Please be cautious. You have to protect yourself out there. I was saying it's like the one thing I don't like about Discord is like you get one scammer out, 15 more pop up. It's impossible to keep under control. So please be careful out there. I will never ask you for money. I repeat, never ask you for money personally. What do I think about the huge liquidity sitting at 50K on the 1 month time frame? Shout out to Mr. Judd. Let's take a look at the liquidation heat map. This is something I wanted to bring up for you guys. Looking at this locally on the 2 week. Right, we've come up to the 65-ish K level, had a little bit of liquidity there. The next local area of liquidity sits in the 62 to 61K zone, right? Which, of course, I'll just pull this range fresh. Whoops. Way too high of a time frame. Which, of course, is confluent with those next confluent key levels of support. Right? So you're going to have the support down here. What is this? This is the weekly. I'm going to take this off the chart because that's tapped. I'm going to take this off because it's tapped. This is still naked, right? So your next major key levels really do sit down there towards the value area low. That liquidity sits below these lows. Let's pull that back up. Right below these lows, about 62.250. There's those lows. 62, whatever, 100. I don't know what chart they're. I mean, I guess they're using the Bybit chart on the liquidation heat map. But that's these lows right here, right? So you do have a little bit of liquidity there, which of course break down, sweep out that liquidity into support. Again, next major area I'd be interested in for potential bounces. Now, when we pull our Fibonacci retracement, we have the 786 sitting down there as well. So this is a large level of support or large zone of support, right? It's really sitting between about 60,800 all the way up to about 62K, right? So I'm going to call it like the $61,000 zone. If we sweep this liquidity, very likely it's not going to be like that, right? You're probably going to sweep. So I would say from 62 down to about $61,000 is that general zone. If we see the confirmations here, maybe we take it early. But like I said, I always prefer that value area low to get tapped. This acts as a magnet for price, very simply put. Right? Is it possible to front run the value area low? Sure, we've seen it happen before. But more often than not, right, statistically speaking, it is going to be a higher probability. I would really prefer to see sweep out the liquidity and then at least tap into these support levels down here, tapping that value area low. But if I had to draw this out as a full zone, technically that 786 is untapped, right? And that starts at about 62K. So 62 to 61,000 is the next major level of support. Take the range off the chart. Even removing the fib, right? Like your next key levels are all the way down there. So I think this is probably the cleanest way to look at price right now. Current range, pulled to the current price action, right? Can't get out of here. Lose the POC. I don't expect this golden pocket to hold up a second time. We already went below it, reclaimed it, sent it up. If we come back down here, I don't expect that to hold. And within the volume profile, of course, if that's not good support, we're expecting it to come down to the next level of support, which is going to be down here. Does that make sense? Short resistance level that we looked at yesterday on the live stream. Last week on the market updates and the live streams. I think it was on Thursday. Was it a live stream, or I think it might have been a market update? That next major key level was the golden pocket 786 value area low, right? Which very nicely was also a deviation above the high, right? Get back in, can't get out. You definitely have a chance of a full volume profile rotation. In which case, I won't be interested until down here. And you're talking about the lower liquidity. We could take a look at that as well. I don't typically look. I mean, it's not that it's invalid or anything. If we take a look at the 1 month, I really use these liquidity levels. Like, I'm never looking on a super high time frame. I'll show you an example here. Like, I'm never looking at this liquidity at $75,000 being like, oh my God, we have liquidity at $75,000, guys. We're going to go up and take that right now. I don't look at it like that. I see these liquidity levels as magnets for price. The closer price gets to that liquidity price, closer price gets to liquidity, the stronger the magnet becomes, right? So eventually, right, of course, we have the $68,000 liquidity. The closer we get to that level, the stronger that liquidity becomes, right? Or I should say the stronger the draw becomes, like the magnetization becomes much stronger, right? So once we get up here, I say, hey, if we squeak up here, we're probably going to get a big wick or a little bit of a squeeze to the upside. That gives me an opportunity to look for shorts on the SFP. And then, of course, the other way that could play out is just a complete and total short squeeze, which you won't know until you get up there and interact and look at the live price action. But very rarely am I looking at like the monthly time frame and saying, oh my God, we have to go take this lower liquidity. I think you said you're on model 2. I usually look at model 3. Let me pull up a higher time frame here. Look at the 3 month. You're always going to see liquidity. At the end of the day, guys, sometimes you're going to see liquidity and it's not going to get taken, right? People could have been looking at this liquidity up here. We have liquidity at 82K, guys. We have to go up and take that, right? It just gets left behind. But I don't personally, at least looking at what I typically look at, you do have that's the 61K, right? Yeah, I don't really see we're going to have to go down to like a much higher time frame to see the lower liquidity. Let's see what we could pull up here. Yeah, like 57 down into the 50s. You do have liquidity sitting there. Try to pull it up on the 1 year. I don't typically look at this on the much higher time frames, and I'll show you why in a second. It's kind of what I just explained. You know, you're looking at this from a high time frame. You're saying, oh my God, there's so much liquidity above here. We have to go take that. Just gets left behind, right? So you do have liquidity down here in the low 50s. Could it get taken? Sure. I don't really, it's not part of my plan. Again, I really like to look a lot more low. I use this as like a tactile, for example, let's just say, let me pull up a clean area price action and just, not saying this is true, but we'll just say, if I'm looking at price like this, go into bar replay mode to make it nice and easily understandable, right? Let's say I have a ton of liquidity right here, right? Tons of liquidity. Very, very hot orange spot of liquidity. I'm not saying, right? And then let's say we have liquidity also down here, right? I am not saying at that point, we have to go and sweep this liquidity or we have to come sweep this liquidity, right? What I do is if we get closer, I say, hey, there's an opportunity for a liquidity sweep here. The closer we get, once you start getting real close, you can expect a sweep, right? It will become a stronger magnet. But I'm never looking at that as like, oh, we have to go down here. At the end of the day, you could come here, squeeze, and just leave this behind. But on the flip side of that, if we came down first, I'd say, hey, potential opportunity for an SFP into that liquidity, right? Especially if it's confluent with a bunch of resistance, right? If I have a bunch of resistance levels, just say we have a weekly MPOC, monthly MPOC, a weekly horizontal, right? I have a cluster of confluence up there, and the liquidity is leading me into that resistance. That's beautiful, because I could say to myself, hey, if I get up here, tap into the resistance, I'm already expecting a rejection there. If it ends in an SFP, beautiful place to look for a short. Right, I'm already looking at that as resistance, and then that liquidity gives me an opportunity to look for that beautiful entry trigger for a short back to the downside. But like here, I wouldn't be saying, oh my God, we have to go here or here first, right? I would wait to see if we can come take that liquidity. So at the end of the day, the liquidity down in the low 50s, can it get taken? Of course it can. It's not something I pay attention to as we're sitting so far away, right? So there you go. Understood. Thanks. Shout out to Mr. Judd. Hopefully that made sense for you, brother. Thank you that was a great question. Shout out to Neon Visual says, don't we have a fat bullish divergence on the 4-day and below? Yes, we do. We also have a potential. Let me just hide all these levels real quick. We also have a potential, not printing just yet, also could end in a weekly bullish divergence here as well. Depends on if we print that green dot, right? Once this green dot on the weekly prints and confirms, we will have a weekly bullish divergence, which was literally the sign that signaled the bottom in 2022. Doesn't mean it has to signal the bottom this time, but it is a signal that you don't want to ignore. I was looking at this, just very simply put, guys. I was looking at this earlier today on the chart and just trying to think to myself, typically, for me personally, in 2022, right, and historically speaking in every other cycle, the time to dollar cost average into Bitcoin, anytime the weekly money flow crosses into the red and gets a big capitulation, that has historically been a great time to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. I'm on the shared chart here. I just realized I'm messing with the Mafia's chart. Let me get off of this. But if we come over to Bitstamp here, come to the weekly time frame, anytime the weekly money flow, and I'll just move these lines, weekly money flow crossover into the red, big capitulation, not a bad time to start dollar cost averaging in. 2018, money flow crosses red, big capitulation, not a bad time to start dollar cost averaging in. This is what I used in 2022. We talked about it on the live streams endlessly. Weekly money flow crossover, big capitulation, not a bad time to dollar cost average in. Are you putting your whole bag in at the tippy bottom? No. But you're dollar cost averaging in the accumulation phase, right? That is the literal model that I used in 2022. Hey, guys, historically, weekly money flow crosses into the red, big drop. That is not a bad time to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. Let's compare this to current price action. There's your weekly money flow crossover into the red. There's a huge dump. Not a bad time to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. I am not telling you to buy Bitcoin. This is what I use, right? And how it has performed in the past, right? You can make your own decisions. But historically speaking, that's been a great time to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. So, if this ends up being a weekly bullish divergence, potentially, you can get the big move up, right? Maybe the bottom's in at that point. Whether we take out the low again or not is another story. But you could see back here, you get the weekly money flow crossover, big capitulation. You guys can actually see here, we did print a weekly bullish divergence real quick right here. And I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen. I'm just saying this is, sometimes what can play out, right? You have a weekly bullish divergence. Oh my God, technically it's not to your wicks, but to your bodies, you do technically have a weekly bull div, even these wicks. It just didn't come to take out this low here. But you do have a little bit of a weekly bullish divergence. You get a bounce, but then there's one more drop to print a much cleaner, take out the actual low to print the much cleaner weekly bullish divergence. And at the end of the day, if you're dollar cost averaging, dollar cost averaging, dollar cost averaging, dollar cost averaging, oh my God, weekly bull div, this is the bottom. And then you get the one more dump to print another weekly bull div. At the end of the day, you still have a beautiful average entry price, right? I always say this. My average entry was about $20,000 to $21,000, somewhere in here. And then, when you're up at 126K, you don't care that you didn't snipe the exact bottom, right? So very similarly, you have some of these high time frame bull divs like the 3-day, the 4-day, and even on to the weekly if that confirms. It is a good sign, right? But if we did end up taking out the low one more time, you do have some room here to put in another full weekly bull div. This is one of the major signals that I look for into major key levels of support to look for the bottoms to come in. Do we have major support down there? Yes, we do. We have the 2021 value area high. We have the I always have to draw this live. I always delete it, right? But you have the 2021 value area high, right? Still sitting down there. You have the 300-week moving average. Also, previous all-time high. These are all levels where it has been a good place to look for a bottom, right? So whether it's in, we front run the 300-week, or it comes into a one more drive of bullish divergence, right? These are still massive, massive levels to be looking for these high time frame confirmations. So there you go. Yes, we do have technically weekly bull div looking to print. 3-day bull div technically confirmed, right? Not really a big play out there so far. 4-day bullish divergence is technically printing, and we did take out the low, so those are there. The only thing here is that weekly, if that weekly doesn't print and we get one more drop, we do still have these key levels down here. So that's why I say like 2026 bottom watch. You don't want to be, you don't want to be late to the party, right? You don't want to miss the forest for the trees, as I say, right? Like, sure, maybe if the bottom's in, you bought here perfectly, awesome, right? If you wait and you buy the bottom and you get it perfectly, that's great. But historically, I don't mind not having an entry at the exact bottom for a full cycle. I just don't care, right? I just want to get in generally in the accumulation phase, and it does look very similar to potentially being somewhere in here, right? If these levels don't hold, we can start talking about the 40s. But again, until we get down there, there's no real reason to look at that. So there you go. Did I hear it's Rob's birthday today? Happy birthday, Rob. Shout out to Gary C. Shout out to Rob. Happy birthday, bro. Every day is my birthday. Today is my 15.105th birthday. Shout out to Rob. Maybe his 15th 105th birthday. Every day is worth celebrating. That is dang right. Let's see. Do we have a bull div on the 1 hour right now? No. You had... No, there's no, not here locally, no. Maybe you get like a hidden bullish divergence potentially. Take that moving average off. Pull up the Bybit chart here real quick. No bullish divergence here on the 1 hour. No traditional bullish divergence. Let's see, 1 hour money flow. Just kind of flat there, technically trending out. Yeah, shout out to Sismon, I think is what that says. 1 hour bull div, am I wrong? Yeah, I do not see a traditional bull div. Potentially. No. Yeah, I do not see a bull div there on the 1 hour. No hidden bull div either. So yeah. Oh, that's a 90-minute. Yeah, I do not see a bull div there. Okay, thank you. No problem, brother. I got you. Shout out to Michael says, dang it, Frankie, I sent you $1,000 a few months ago. You promised to send it back double, and I'm still waiting. I thought you needed money because you were in a tight spot. Shout out to Michael. Definitely not. I think he's joking. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much what we're looking at on Bitcoin. So waiting for price to make a move. I think I went live like twice last week just because we're just stuck. Give it the key level. We don't hit the key level. We just wait for it. Just waiting to get out of this chop so we can have something new to talk about. But I think I covered everything. I covered my overall plans. The big level to break for the big move to the upside is really not going to be until we break 68K. And then to the downside, we'll see if we can get accepted into the range and get the bigger move down towards the $62,000 to $61,000 area. 62 to 61K. Call it the $62,000 zone key support, $68,000 key level of resistance, and we're already getting the projection from the level we looked at last week. So we're kind of checking all the boxes here. And yeah, hopefully we can get out of this choppy money flow situation. Absolutely brutal. Hype. Yeah, we actually took a look at Hype on the premium live stream today. I don't know why Bybit doesn't pop up here anymore. Where is it? There it is. So I will cover this real quick because I already have the TA on the chart. I'm not going to go deep into the altcoins today, but we were covering this recently. We looked for the sweep of liquidity below the lows here into the golden pocket. Ended up getting the sweep for a nice big bounce back to the highs here. Swept out the highs. And now we're getting a decent correction. And looking at our money flow here, and again, if Bitcoin decides to chop around, maybe this messes this up. But overall, I've extended this profile. I would say the current profile to look at on Hype right now is value area high at about $68. POC sitting at about $59. Value area low at $54.96. This is your overall volume profile. We have money flow coming out on many different time frames. 4-hour money flow crossing into the red. 5-hour money flow generally trending out. 6-hour money flow, attempting to trend out. 8-hour money flow, coming out. 10-hour money flow, coming out. 12-hour money flow, coming out. You could see a difference here between this and Bitcoin, right? We have all the money flow generally headed in the same direction, right? Whereas Bitcoin, it's just like totally chopped up. 8-hour in the green, daily in the red, 4-hour in the green. It's just all chopped up. But here you can see we do have many different time frames trending out with money flow. We've deviated above the value area high, and we are potentially getting stuck inside this volume profile. If we cannot break here, cannot break out of the value area high, these are the two biggest levels of resistance. Number one's already being rejected, right? We came down, rejected the golden pocket 786. If we can't get out of this value area high, I'd say the next biggest level of support is going to be, or the next place to look for price to go, is going to be the daily, weekly MPOC and point of control confluence between about 60.81 to 58.95. Right? Money flow is coming out. We can look for the continuation of the downtrend. This is the first major level that you could reject, and we currently are. If you get another pop out of this volume profile, the only other place I'd look for a lower high is going to be into this golden pocket daily MPOC. Or I should say golden pocket 786 daily MPOC, right? Because if money flow is coming out, you're expecting high, low, potential lower high, potential lower low, right? To get back into the range and push towards that POC. I don't know, right? Just like in any other scenario, we don't know if you have to get this full golden pocket retracement, right? There's no saying you have to go up there. You could be rejecting the earlier one, which of course is already being rejected, right? We took a look at this a while ago in the premium Discord. But get up in here, can't get out, right? Well, hey, that could be a lower high. Get stuck in here. POC's next. If you get another breakout, you could have another opportunity to look for a rejection up here. This is the last place that I would look. Once you break above that 786, at that point, I'm looking to take out the highs, right? So you have a nice clean. If you get that next push to the upside, which again, I can't promise is going to happen, you have a pretty clean setup there, right? You could either put your stop loss above the 786 or above the previous high. For me personally, getting above and holding that 786 is really the invalidation. You're deviating above your value area high. Money flow is all coming out. That already puts you in a scenario to look for lower highs and lower lows. Trend to continue down, right? Once you get above that 786, chances are you want to get out of that because you're looking to take out the highs. Now, if you don't get that opportunity, again, it's a little, it's a little late at this point. But again, right, you have a high, technical high, low, lower high, lower low, potential lower high to keep coming down into the range. But very simply put, can't get back above this value area high decisively. Next draw on price is probably going to be the POC with these weekly and daily MPOC confluences. So if you're going to go down, it's either this or this. Once you get up there, probably going to continue up. I'd say money flow is definitely pointing towards the continuation down from either of these zones. So there you go. Would I short now? Personally, I was explaining this in the Discord. Like, for me personally, I would, and I'll tell you exactly why, right? Again, money flow indicates the overall trend, right? So money flow is indicating this whole thing. It does not indicate the ebbs or the flows. Green and red dots. Green dot, up. Red dot, down. Green dot, up. Red dot, down. And this is why when some people say, hey, there's a green dot on the daily, isn't that bullish? Yes, technically, in a matter from the perspective of bullish up, bearish down, without context in mind, that is true. Daily green dot could be bullish for a move to the upside. But if I have a daily green dot, I'll use this one for an example, right? Green dot, red dot. Let's say I get a green dot here. If money flow is coming out, right? This green dot, yes, bullish for a potential push up, right? But the money flow direction is always going to indicate the overall trend. So I would have to use that green dot as any bounce off that green dot has to be looked at as a lackluster bounce for a lower high and a lower low. Where do I find those lower high levels? I pull the fib from the high to the low. Right? Golden pocket 786 is typically the area to get that. Right? So if I was here and I was about to print a green dot, I would expect maybe a push to the upside, right? But because money flow is coming out, I would look at that as a lackluster bounce, and then I would look for the opportunity to get in on the right side of the money flow and ride that trend down because money flow is coming out. So apply that to your price action here. Take a look at the 10-hour here, right? Sure, you have your money flow coming out, indicating lower highs and lower lows. If this green dot prints, you could get another bounce up. Right? Maybe it rejects from the 786. Maybe it pushes into your full Fibonacci retracement. So for me, I like to get my entries on shorts as price is pushing up into a retracement, right? Because I want to catch the top. I don't want to, you've already gotten a pretty significant move down here. It just feels a little late for me. So if we get this green dot, say on the 10-hour, maybe the 8-hour green dot continues to play out. It doesn't look super strong. But let's say we get those higher time, 8-hour green dot could potentially print, right? This could potentially give me a bounce, right? Either into that 786 that's untapped or this upper golden pocket 786. So for me, I like to be patient and wait for the best setup to try to catch the top. Sometimes that results in me not getting a retracement and missing the move. So it really is personal preference. I wouldn't say you do have a valid technical setup here where you can just essentially short pretty much at the value area high, look for the rotation of the range. But you would, in my opinion, have to give yourself a pretty decent stop loss because, again, if that green dot prints, sure, that could be bullish locally, but I would still just be interested in waiting for a push up and then looking for the short. If I don't get it and we just reject there, it is what it is. But I would say, there's two ways to handle the volume profile trades, right? You could either, my preferred scenario, try to catch them on the deviation and then already be in profit by the time you're playing around with this range, right? At this point, more often than not, in my trades, right, when we start getting accepted in here, I was already looking for the short at the high. I'm already in profit. And then I'm just sitting there saying, hey, money flow's coming out. I'm safe. I'm eventually expecting to get stuck in here and get pushed towards the POC. I don't have to worry about it. But another way you can handle this is wait, right? You could say this is a little bit of a safer entry, right? Because you're already getting accepted into the profile. But in my opinion, you get this green dot, you might be able to get, it might come into a bit of drawdown here. So there's many different ways you can look at that, but on a bearish retest of the value area high, this is theoretically, could be a move that could happen. It just feels late to me because price has already moved down. I'm always looking for the shorts on the push up. I'm never seeing move down and then shorting. So obviously there's many different ways this could play out, right? If you can't get back out of here, well, hey, it's not going to look like a bad idea to take a short there at the value area high. My personal style is to wait for retracements. So here, I would be pushing in, and then I'd say, hey, right, let me come into bar replay mode here real quick. And let me just hide these fibs. Right, the way I typically play it is if I'm not in from the exact high, and I see the drop down, I'm never going, oh my God, short. Why? Because chances are you're pushing into support, you're going to get some kind of a bounce, even if you end up being right? It's not going to be as good of an entry. I like to snipe my entries. So what would I do here? I'm hitting into the value area highs. This is local support. Money flow's coming down. I'm expecting the trend to continue down. My plan here would be if we bounce, it's lackluster, lower high, lower low. That would be my anticipation. It does not mean that I short there, though. Right? What I would prefer to do is wait for a push into a golden pocket 786, right? Be patient, right? This feels like I chased, right? If I'm not short here, we already dumped. That's too late for me to short. I'm shorting into support. We've already gotten a move down. Price moves in waves. I'd rather wait to see if I can get a retracement. Where would I look? If money flow's coming out, I'm expecting a downtrend. Where am I expecting a lower high? Inside the golden pocket 786. I patiently wait for that, and then that's where I execute, right? So if I'm not in from up here, I would wait for a retracement, and then I would get in with a nice tight stop loss there, and then I could start targeting back inside the range. Does that make sense? So currently, I would say it is a bit difficult because you already got the drop down, you already got a big retracement into a lower high. So yeah, that's kind of why I would like, this feels like I'm chasing, right? So I would have to wait for a move up. I just can't say I'm super confident you'll get it. If you do, I would say 786 at $70, $70.10 is going to be the first big place to watch, right? This is still technically naked. And if you break above that, you could sit on your hands and wait to see if you get the bigger retracement, right? Again, I'm not telling you to take this trade, just saying I'm always going to be more keen to either short into here or short into here or short into here. This just feels like I would be chasing, right? Price. If I do take a trade there, it's not that I never take trades late like that. If I did, I would have a bigger stop loss and not be shocked if I go into a little bit of drawdown. But of course, it's more ideal to catch them from the top. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. I think 68 liquidity, 68 for liquidity, and then dump hard. Shout out to Sysmon. I definitely think that is definitely a place where we'll be looking for shorts. It could be hard for me to say what's going to happen up here until I can see that information, though. But definitely a big place to look at. Thank you for the hype deep dive analysis. Of course, brother. Of course. Anytime. That's what we're here. Financial clarity. That's what we're here for. Can you show the 30-minute and 15-minute? I don't know if you meant on Bitcoin or I assume you probably meant hype. Could try to, I don't want to confuse you guys here, but we're kind of just, at this point, went over the important stuff on Bitcoin. We're kind of just chilling, doing TA, answering questions here. Yeah, I always do like to do this as well. You could break these down into separate volume profiles. So if you just take the massive TA off the chart, it's like, again, locally, where am I taking a short into? I'm taking a short into the value area low. This is typically where I look for bounces. And again, it's not to say that you can't just melt through here and dump. But again, like where are the good short opportunities? They're going to be up towards the value area high, right? So for instance, if I got to push back up here into the value area high, I'd be much more interested in looking for shorts on the way up. It's very simple. Short resistance, long support. Again, it's not to say you can't dump from here, but for me to look for a sound setup, I'm never going to short into support like this. Even if I'm looking for a small retracement, right, I'm always going to be better off waiting for some kind of a bounce to look for lower highs. And when you pull up your, let me hide this golden pocket because the golden pocket's what we're rejecting right now. If you look at it locally like this, you have your 786 above the value area high, right? This would be something I'd be much more interested in shorting into, right? On the push up, look for the short. If that stopped out, I would simply look up to the next area, which sits on the golden pocket daily MPOC. Let me pull it before that big dump. See this here. Yeah. And you could separate these into two zones. You can have zone number 1, zone number 2. Gets a little bit more confusing to look at it like that, but when you zoom down to the lower time frames, of course, this isn't going to look like a big bounce, but I would just always rather, it's much more technically sound to short into a resistance like that, right? 786 is naked. It's above the value area. You can look for your confirmations, and then you could just look to ride that through the range. And then when you zoom out, you're saying, hey, nice, right? We bing-bonged around. I caught the short. Now I can't get out of the range. Much better entry than shorting down here. It really depends, right? If you're taking a longer-term swing trade with a smaller position size, at the end of the day, there would be nothing really wrong with shorting a value area high. Stop loss above the high. I mean, the only problem I would have with this is your first take profit basically gives you like almost like a 50-50 risk to reward, right? It's like 1. So it's like, I don't really like that risk to reward, to be honest. This would be the more sound trade. I just can't guarantee that will set up. But at the end of the day, right, like that would be earned validation. You could even maybe tighten the stop loss to the previous highs. There's nothing wrong with this. Because again, you can't get out of the value area high. You could go down. I'm just wary of those high time frame green dots, right? Like the 12-hour. That prints, you can get another bounce. If we get another bounce, where would I look for the shorts? I'd be watching that 786 and this golden pocket retracement. Keep it nice and simple. If you get another bounce, really the biggest area of interest is right here. Take the range off. Just keep it nice and simple. If that 10 hour is going to give you a bounce, that'd be a great place to look for a rejection. Back in, back down. Otherwise, you could just reject that 786 or the high could be in. So for me, I would probably be waiting for this. I just don't know if it'll come. Bitcoin 15, 30 minute. Let's take a look. 30-minute money flow in the red. 8-hour VWAP coming down. You don't have the red dot, so you don't have a market cipher B116 there necessarily. But yeah, money flow super chopped here. Again, not really too much I can take away from that. 15-minute in the red with the 4-hour red dot. It's a little bit more in line with a market cipher B 1/16. Bearish setup. But yeah, this would be your, let me take this off. Here's your 15-minute. Not too much to take. I mean, this is super choppy. So there you go. Shout out to Big Huggies. Said I sniped a hype short at 75.76 because I learned my TA from Frankie and the Fire Saw. Shout out to Big Huggies. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Love to hear it, bro. Love to hear it. But yeah, just overall, I mean, you got your money flow. My overall anticipation here has to be for some kind of continuation down based off your money flow. The trick here is trying to see, are those green dots going to give you another push up or is the high in? That's a bet that you have to take yourself. As long as you're managing the risk, though, it's no big deal. If I were to short here at the value area high, I personally would probably put myself at a higher probability or I'd give myself a higher chance of getting stopped out, but I'd be able to take a much bigger position size, right? Get stopped out for a small loss here. If that doesn't play out, I would just look for the next short up here. So yeah. What indicator to use for the volume profiles or the value levels? This is the fixed range volume profile. You should be able to use some. If you have a paid version of TradingView, you just come on over to forecasting fixed range volume profile. I have a tutorial in the beginner series. Go to the channel beginner series. I have a video showing you exactly how to set them up so you can actually get your volume profile range. By default, it'll look like this without let me just hide this real quick. Right? By default, if you pull your volume profile, it's going to look like this. You're not going to have the value area high or anything, but you just come into the settings. It's super simple. I changed this row size to 240. 70% value area is default, so all you have to really change is I would change this to 240, and then I come in here and I turn on the value area high and the value area low. But if you go to the tutorial in the beginner series, I go in detail not only on how to pull these, how to use them. I show you exactly how I trade them, where I look for shorts, where I look for longs, etc. So you can check that out. Full details in that video. Just make sure I didn't miss anything here in the chat. Shout out to Background Vibes. I think that's what that says. Says, I'm calling the future. Head and shoulders on the daily. Drops Bitcoin to new lows. That gives us a weekly bull div. This kicks off the next cycle. If I'm wrong, everyone gets half an ADA. Shout out to Background Vibes. I actually don't really hate that prediction. I don't really trade patterns, so I wouldn't really look at the I wouldn't really pay much attention to the head and shoulders. I don't know exactly. Maybe you're looking at something like this, potentially. Weekly bull div. I actually don't hate that. I don't hate that general idea. Like I mentioned before, I would love to come down and take out those lows, print the daily bull divs, confirm the weekly bull div, and then send it up, at least for a big move, right? On the way up, we can try to identify if the bottom is truly in by looking at the high time frame money flow. But this is definitely, You know, if you compare it to 2022, it's not far off, right? If you're saying we're somewhere in here where you're starting to get the right, you're starting to get those bull divs on the higher time frames. Sure, you get a move up, right? But then you come back down, confirm that weekly bull div, and then send it back up. I don't hate that outlook. Shout out to you, brother. Let's do it. Somebody clip that. We'll bring it back up if it plays out. What's the best way to view the liquidity? I use CoinGlass. That's the website that I just had pulled up here. CoinGlass.com. It's free. I think you just make, if you make an account, you just make like a free account. You don't have to pay for it. And then you can pull up these liquidation heat maps. I believe I have videos on the channel about that too. What device is good to use for trading? I get this question a lot. What computer should I get for trading? It really doesn't matter. The only thing I ever say, you could trade on your phone if you want. The only thing I say, like, obviously having more screen real estate is nice, right? Because I could be looking at the chart here. I could be looking at the order flow on my monitor over here. I could be looking at the liquidation heat maps over here. But that's not necessary, right? You can always just trading view, then on the same screen, look at your liquidation heat map, right? It's all just like kind of like luxury if you have it on separate screens. So yeah, like I don't think you need like hardware requirements. You could trade off your phone. I do it all the time. When I'm out and about, I have an alert go off. I see my confirmation on TradingView. I'll just take the trade from my phone. You don't need any kind of specific advice at all. Get a Wibby 5000? Shout out to Mr. Joe. What is a Wibby 5000? It's much clearer. I don't know what a Wibby is. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Stop said, Frankie, how about that liquidity? Shout out to Rob. That liquidity, I think, is what he means. But yeah, I would say, again, the way I look at these liquidity levels, guys, is really from a lower time frame perspective. Right now, I would say the tangible liquidity levels to look at, like even if I mark it off clearly on the chart without, just make that smaller. Right, when I look at the liquidity, minus the confluence and key levels, next big area of liquidity sits down here. Pull up a 4-hour. Sits right down here, right, leading us into that next major key level towards the value area low, right? Sweeper could potentially look for bounces there. And then the next big area of liquidity above, I already have marked off here, above 68K, right? So very simply put, could sweep out there, look for a move. If we come up first, sweep out this, look for a move. Of course, we have the specific confirmations we'll be looking for in the premium. But yeah. Shout out to Nadia said, I feel like I'm always too late when I take a position on the dot. Shout out to Nadia. Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not always going to catch the exact top, right? Like even when I catch the tops, I don't mean that I'm literally in from the tip of the wick. But when I talk about that, really what I'm referring to is like, I'd rather be in, like I'm down to like a 1 hour, right? Like for this short, I'd rather be in from like up here, right? Nice tight stop loss, big position size, rather than having the big drop down and then getting in super late, right? Because then eventually you're going to get some kind of retracement. It's always going to be cleaner to wait for that retracement, right? Like imagine you take a short here, or you don't take a short here, it's dumping. Oh my God, short it. Sure, you're looking for a continuation down, money flows coming out, you're looking for lower highs, lower lows. If you're okay, right, holding, if your stop loss is above the high, that's totally fine. The problem I have with that is if you have a stop loss of 2.55%, this big stop loss, you have to lower your position size to account for the bigger stop loss, right? Otherwise, like if I take a position here with this big stop loss, let's say I risk 2% of my account. If I get stopped out of this position, I'll lose 2% of my account. It's the same thing if I enter here with a super tight stop loss. If I get stopped out of this, I'm still only gonna lose 2% of my account if I get stopped out. The difference is I could take, say, a $300,000 position size with a tight stop loss like this, but if I enter here with a big stop loss, of course, this is still valid invalidation, right? You could still take this and expect a lower high, lower low, but you're going to have to lower that position size, right? Because if I don't lower the position size and I get stopped out here, I'm going to lose way more than 2% of my account, right? So I have to lower that position size so that extra drawdown doesn't absolutely wreck me. Does that make sense? I have a video on the beginner series about this as well. So I like to take tight stop losses, big position size, snipe the top of the move. And even here, right? If I don't like to short here, I have to take a small position size. Why would I not rather wait for a retracement, right? Money flow's coming out. I'm looking for a lower high and lower low, right? Just to put this in real time. I'm going to give you the real sauce here. Too late for me to short here, right? Personally, again, doesn't mean you can't short here with a big stop loss. That's fine. But I want to take a bigger position size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. Money flow's coming out. I'm expecting what? A lower high and a lower low. Where's the lower high likely to come in at? I like to look for the golden pocket, 786. I don't know if you physically came up in this exact scenario. Of course, you're not always going to get that full retracement. So you could pull from the full high to the full low. And then I guess technically, if you wanted to look for the local, you could look here. But I always prefer that full retracement. I don't know if you actually come up and tap it. Let's see. Yeah. So golden pocket 786. Then when I come up and play with this area, I can say to myself, hey, I am no longer shorting into support. Now I am shorting into resistance. And my stop loss is much tighter, allowing me to take a much bigger position size. Right? So entering here, you could still a valid trade, right? But for me, I'd rather wait for that retracement, get a tighter stop loss, have a bigger position size, and then make much more money with that big position size on the way down. Either way, the idea is high, low, lower, high, lower, low. Whether you enter here or here is just going to make your position size small or big. I want to make more money, right? So I take the bigger position size, but I have to be patient to wait for those retracements. And sometimes, to be perfectly honest, you won't get that retracement, and sometimes you miss the move, but that's totally fine because then I just wait for the next key level and the next sound setup. I would say more often than not, you will get those retracements. If you're out there and you're new to trading, I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably gone through this. I know I did in the beginning. Was I'd see the move down, I'd feel like I was missing out, and I would just enter in. And back in the day, I wouldn't even have a stop loss. I would just gamble on, oh my God, it's going to dump. I'm going to make a ton of money right now, and then it would retrace. I'd probably get wrecked, right? To get liquidated on 100x leverage, and then only to have price do exactly what I wanted to, which is not fun to go through. So it's always going to be like that. It's the same exact thing I just talked about on the current price action. Right here, would I short into this? Absolutely not. This was our key level of support. I would never short into that. What am I going to short into? Right? I'm going to short into with money flow. If money flow is coming out, I'm expecting a lower high and a potential lower low. I'm not going to short. If I'm not short from up here, I'm not going to short late, right? At that point, you've missed the entire move, at least locally, right? You're better off waiting for a retracement, pushing into key resistance, and then taking the trade, shorting into resistance, right? Get a nice clean entry. That way, you're not underwater. You're just now entering your position to start. Hopefully, that helps somebody out there. If you're anything like me when I started trading, I just mentioned a lot of pain points. Yeah, shout out to Muhammad, said, bro, I am a beginner, and whenever I try to trade, the market changes its direction. So can you give me any advice? Shout out to Muhammad. Number one, this is like the most common thing ever, dude. So don't feel bad, right? I don't know how long you've been trading for. Number one, understand it takes time, right? You're not going to jump into the markets and watch 3 tutorial videos and automatically start printing money, right? It takes time. You have to make mistakes. There's a lot of emotion involved, etc. But the reason why you feel like that, I felt exactly like this, right? This is not me talking down to you. This is me talking about my past experiences. It felt like the market was against me. Why did it feel like that? Well, it felt like that because, number one, I didn't understand how the market moved, right? Like here, you could be thinking, oh my God, like short, right? And even if you understand money flow, you could be thinking like, I'm better off shorting than longing because money flow is coming out. The trend is likely to continue down. But you might be entering here and then going into drawdown immediately. That explains exactly what you're feeling. I'm going short. And again, you might not even, chances are you probably might not even have that understanding, right? You might just be thinking price is going down, let me short. This is a very classic beginner mistake. It's going down, let me short. No, it is literally the opposite, right? I've gone from someone who's tried to chase moves to someone who literally trades the contrary, right? Which is when price pumps, that's where I look for shorts. A lot of times when I talk about shorts, people are like, why are you shorting there? We're pumping. You're an idiot. And I'm like, dude, I've already gone through this, right? I thought I would be an idiot doing that too, but now I realize it's a smarter move. But you might be thinking, oh my God, price is dumping. I'm going to short. And then, sure enough, price immediately reverses. Why is that? It's because you were just shorting at the wrong time, right? You have to look at this again as the fact that, like, we've already gotten a move down. This is too late for me to short, right? Wait for a retracement, right? And then again, understanding how the market moves. I didn't understand this, right? If I shorted here and then I went into drawdown, I would just close my trade being like, oh my God, I'm getting, it's going against me. Now we're going to go up. Right? But now that I understand money flow and market structure, I understand that even this push up is likely to continue down. So, for example, if I were to take a short here nowadays, right, which I wouldn't, but if I took a short here nowadays, I would understand that there is a chance that we are probably going to retrace for a lower high and a lower low, right? So I would understand that I'm probably going to go into drawdown here. In the beginning, I had no context. So, when you look at money flow, could try to find just like the most simple example here. I'll look at the 4 hour, right? From up here, right? 4 hour money flows crossing into the red, right? Maybe I'll even go down a couple time frames. Let's look at the 2 hour, right? 2 hour money flows crossing into the red. This is not as an extreme example, but you come down. Sure, your trend is going to continue down, but you get a little bit of a bounce. And oftentimes those bounces can be full golden pocket 786 retracements. Right, so anytime money flows in the red, it's very simple. If I'm on the 2 hour, money flows in the red, I'm expecting to look for a short. It does not mean I short the red candle. I start to look for setups, right? And more often than not, those setups will come in at the golden pocket 786 to some degree. It didn't here, of course. The example I picked didn't happen, right? But I would be sitting here and saying, is it too late to short here? Probably, right? I'd rather wait for a retracement up. And again, like I said, sometimes it'll just dump. And then you don't get that opportunity. But over time, it's going to be much more stable and consistent to wait for those setups. And why is that? Because if I miss this setup, right, let's say, all right, money flow's coming out. I'll just put this in bar replay mode because I think it helps people follow along in real time, right? I'm not shorting this, right? Big red candle. I have to wait for at least some kind of a retracement. So what I would say is I'm going to wait to see if I get that golden pocket retracement. Then I'll look for a short. Right, to get in on the downtrend, because money flow is very clearly coming out. I expect lackluster retracement, lower high, lower low. Now, this is why, right, of course it could keep dumping here. But here's the thing. If I am wrong about price coming up and retracing, and I don't get that setup, guess how much money I lose? 0. But you lose potential profit. It's potential. It's not real. It's fugazi. It's fairy dust. It's not real. Shout out to Matthew McConaughey. It's not real. I lose $0 if this doesn't happen. I'd say 8 out of 10 times, if I FOMO in too early, if I FOMO in here too late, the chances of price coming up and retracing are always going to be higher, right? So if I take the early position and say, I know we're probably going to retrace, there's a high chance we're going to retrace, but I'm just going to take the position anyway, I actually will lose money on that, right? So I have no problem not getting the retracement that I'm looking for and missing the trade. Why? Because I lose nothing, right? I just lose the opportunity. But here's something a lot of people don't understand. If you miss a trade, it doesn't mean you're never going to take another trade, right? You have to be patient, right? Patience will pay you over time like you cannot believe. FOMO and emotional rash decisions will lose you money consistently over time. Patience, of course, if I want patience to come up here and it doesn't happen, I miss the trade, but I lose $0, right? If I take an aggressive entry and then it retraces, I'm going to look at this and be like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I knew this was probably going to retrace. I knew there was a higher chance it would retrace. I took it anyway and I lost money. Why would I do that, right? I'd much rather miss a position and lose no money than force a trade and lose money consistently. So there you go, right? I'd say more often than not, it'll do that. And sometimes it'll do this. And this is where people get super chopped up because they think, oh my God, I missed this trade last time. I should have just taken it. And then the next time they're looking for a retracement, the chances are it's going to be higher that it comes in, and they're just going to force the trade, and they're going to get wrecked, right? You have to stick to the plan, and you have to be patient and not worry about catching every single move, right? More often than not, you're going to get that golden pocket 786 retracement. Oh my God, FOMO short, right? Let's give it another. I mean, this is a perfect example. Let's bring it back here. So let's say you didn't take this trade, you wanted to wait for the retracement, and it went, right? And it just left, and you missed the move, right? Now, if you see that as, oh my God, now, right, let's just say this is further ahead in price action, you see the same thing. You're like, oh my God, I missed the move. Well, last time I waited for the retracement, I didn't get it. So I'm just going to FOMO in here. I would say about 7 to 8 out of 10 times, right? You're going to go ahead and take that, thinking about the bad decision you made before. And more often than not, you're going to go ahead and you're going to get that retracement and you're going to lose, right? In which case, for me, right, I'd be like, oh, okay, let me see if I get the retracement. I'll wait for the golden pocket 786, right? Does that make sense? You're going to miss moves sometimes, but that doesn't mean you change your plan. I've actually made a video on the channel where I made money. I said this to the premium Discord earlier today. I made money. I made like $4,000. And I reviewed the trade in the video to teach the Mafia that although I made money on that trade, I executed it terribly. Why was it terribly executed? It was because I was waiting for a key level, and luckily I didn't get wrecked, right? I was waiting for a key level to get tapped. And the trade prior to that, I let the emotions get to me, right? I was waiting for a key level on one of my trades. It didn't get hit, and price went. The next trade I took, I front ran my key level because I was thinking about that last trade. Bad. I make mistakes too. Bad. I identify the mistakes, right? I front ran that key level because, again, I missed the trade because it didn't hit my key level last time. I know I should wait for the key levels regardless. I just said that, right? I know that that's the case. But I was like, you know what? Screw it, man. I missed that last move. I'm not missing this one. And I executed it way too early. And what happened was price came down to the key level anyway. I get super close to getting liquidated, or no, I'm sorry, stopped out. I got very close to getting stopped out. Meanwhile, in hindsight, I should have just waited for the key level. In that particular scenario, I wound up winning the trade. I honestly deserved to get stopped out of it. I wish I got stopped out of it because that's what I deserved, right? But I have that video. You should go watch it. I don't remember the name of the video. Probably like I messed up or something. But I classify that as a bad trade. I didn't follow my rules. I broke my rules. That is going to lose me money consistently. I should have just stuck to my rules. Even though it got front ran on the last trade, I should have just said, it doesn't matter. It's a higher probability that it's not going to front run. And sure enough, it didn't front run. I almost got wrecked. And even though I made money, it was still a bad execution. It was a bad, I would have classified that as a bad trade, poorly executed, even though I made money, right? Because over time, if I kept doing that, I'm going to get wrecked over time, right? If I just keep trying to front run my levels because of one trade that I missed, that overtime is eventually going to stop me out statistically. It's a higher probability that those key levels are going to get hit. Hopefully that makes sense. This is just kind of like a non-tangible of trading, right? Not like a specific strategy necessarily, but it's kind of like getting more into the psychology of trading. Shout out to Matthew, said the videos you're referencing are where on the YouTube channel? Yes, just go to my YouTube channel. There's a beginner series playlist. And go through all those. You should watch them all, to be honest. Yeah, swing trading is maybe more money than scalping. Yeah, listen, that's a very common outcome. A lot of people don't have the patience for it. But again, you know, especially when you're new, I would never recommend somebody get on the 1 minute and start scalping, right? You should start understanding the higher time frames, how the market moves. The market is fractal, right? Price action's fractal. Just like price moves in highs, lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. On the high time frames, it's the exact same thing on the lower time frames, right? Just zoomed in. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. They just takes longer time to play out. Right. And of course, you know, obviously I scalp. There's nothing wrong with scalping, but I do think a lot of people that get into trading may have other things going on in their life. I always tell people, if you want, everyone says, should I be a scalper? Should I be a day trader? Should I be a swing trader? Right. This has a lot to do with what your life looks like. I always tell people, if you have a full-time job, a family, you have a lot of hobbies you're not willing to give up, scalping is going to be really difficult for you, right? It takes full 100% of your attention. You have to sit there, watch the chart, which is not a bad thing, but you just need the time for it. If you have a full-time job, you are much better off. It doesn't mean you can't be a trader. You would just want to stick on the higher time frames. All right, for example, if you wanted to wait for this SFP, this is the same confirmation you would look at on a 5-minute scalp trade, right? The 5-minute scalp, maybe you SFP, price comes up in 5 minutes, and you make your money for the day and you walk away. That's great. Right, but you got to be sitting there sometimes for hours waiting for the level to get tapped. You have to make sure you're at the desk when that level gets hit. You have to make sure that you execute very quickly because it doesn't last long, and it takes your full attention. It's like a full-time job. If you're a swing trader, you would essentially just be looking at this on a daily time frame. Let's say you have a full-time job. Whatever, let's say you come down at whatever time, your alert goes off on your phone. Oh my God, I got the SFP. You enter your trade. You have your stop loss set, and then this takes from the entry to, let's just say your take profit was up here at $67,000, which was the first major level. This takes 11 days. You can totally take this and sit on your hands and wait for the trade to either play out or stop you out. And this is something you can do with a full-time job, right? Because you don't have to check the phone every 5 minutes. You just check it, once a day. Oh, let me see what the Bitcoin chart's doing on your way home from work, on the train or whatever. What's Bitcoin doing? Oh, my trade's playing out a little bit, right? You have time to go back and manage that trade. Whereas on the 5 minute, you have to be there that second. You have to watch it, right? You have to understand what's going on. You have to pull the local key levels. It's like a full-time job, which is fine if you have the free time, right? If you're a freelancer, right? If you have if you're a freelance, freelance anything, right? And you make your own schedule. Maybe you have a few days a week where you don't have my schedule's packed next week for work, but this week I'm kind of just hanging out. That's a perfect time to trade the lower time frames or honestly in the beginning, focus on learning. Spend that full time, 8 hours, 10 hours a day of that week just learning, not even executing, just learning TA, learning strategies, back testing, being on the chart, watching price action live, just studying. Right, but if you already know how to trade, right, if you have a week off or something, well then, hey, beautiful, you could sit on the low time frames and scalp. But I think a lot of people get into trading and they have a lot of going on, and they're like, "What happened? I entered a 15-minute trade and then I wasn't watching it." And it's like, well, you got to be on the chart, right? So you really got to ask yourself, what does your lifestyle allow you to do, right? Shout out to Muhammad, said, bro, by listening to your advice, I think I did something really good by subscribing to you. Thanks for your support. Just tell me when you come online every day. I want way more advice. Shout out to Muhammad. But we'll turn on notifications. Make sure you don't miss a live stream or a market update. Yeah. Swing trading also, shout out to Gen Z, helps with less stress. Again, I saw a scientist talking about how short-term trades actually destroy like the synapses in your brain. It's very high stress, right? It's very high emotion. It's, again, I always tell people, start on the higher time frames, and then once you get a good idea of that, you'll just naturally start to see, like this volume profile, this X, whatever you're looking at, is the same thing as when I look at it on the 5 minute, right? And then you could just have a much better understanding of what you're looking at before you enter that super high stress environment of scalping. I love starting people off on the higher time frames as well because, again, it's not as emotionally inducing, right? It's almost boring, right? You're sitting there, you're like, oh, man, it's been a day. I'm just still at, like, break even. Oh, my God. Right? That's what you want. You want it to be boring. You don't want that high emotion. It's addicting emotionally, right? Like you want that addiction to the adrenaline, the dopamine. Oh my God, I'm up, I'm down. It's like gambling, right? Now again, you shouldn't be gambling, but it's the same thing, right? It's the lights, the bells. It's like it keeps you fully engaged. It's dopamine. This is not good for trading, right? You're just adding all this emotion in, and the goal of trading is to completely emotionally separate yourself. Execute like a robot. When I lose trades, oh, I got stopped out. Doesn't affect me. I don't care that I got stopped out, right? I had a plan. I knew that if the trade went south, I would lose X amount of money. I was willing to accept that. I know over time my strategy is profitable. I know if I stick to my rules, I will remain profitable. When I lose 4 trades in a row, a lot of people will start to think, oh my God, I should try a new strategy. It's not working. No, you have to be like a robot. And I think scalping does nothing but enter a ton of extra emotions into your trading, which is very dangerous. So I always like to start people off on the higher time frames, and then once you understand how trading works, you feel the emotions, you can start to move down to those lower time frames from a much better frame, right? You're not going to get on there, first time you jump on the chart, not knowing anything about trading, right? This could just be a small retracement where you're looking to go long, and you see, oh my God, we're dumping, right? This is the 3 minutes. Oh my God, we're dumping short. Right? And you don't understand that if you take a deep breath and zoom out, like, oh, this is actually going to be a place where I look for a bounce. I'm not saying this is what I'm looking for right now. I'm just saying in general. So there you go. We're actually getting a little bit of a move here. Let's pull up the key levels. I would say the next thing to look at for a continuation down, guys, is probably going to be this 8-hour red dot. If we get this 8-hour red dot tonight with our 30-minute, money flow's already in the red. I wouldn't even really pay attention to that. Red dot would still be valid, but you don't have a market cipher B1/16 strategy setting up there. So yeah, I would say your next major key level, guys, same level we looked at in the beginning of the stream. So I'll leave you with this. Key level of support, Golden Pocket, 786, daily MPOC, value area high. We got to bounce there, right? If we make it down, you got to bounce and stay above this value area high to continue up. Once we get down there and we start to get stuck inside this range and we can't hold that 786, that is the bearish case to get back inside this range. The idea is you do not want to get accepted back into this value area. It increases the probabilities of getting the full rotation. If we could stay out of it, well, hey, we can look to continue up. If we get accepted in, that is more bearish. And as long as you remain below that value area high, the next high probability target becomes the POC. So shout out to anybody. Is anybody in the dining room that saw that setup up there at 65K? Let me know. Shout out to Ash. Said, yo, fam, what's good? Frankie and the Candle Mafia. Shout out to Ash. Welcome in. Ash loves boost. What kind of boost are we talking? I assume that means turbo boost. I do also love boost. I got to do something, guys. I've had I had Mrs. Candles. We took Lucy to training on Saturday. And Mrs. Candles always wants to drive the Supra. She goes, come on, let me drive it. I was like, all right, fine. So she drove it. I was like, I want to hear it. So I'm driving in her car, behind the Supra with the windows open. It sounds good in the car. It's not loud enough. From outside the car, it's not loud enough. So I got to start doing something. I've had it stock for long enough. So I got to do something. Somebody, my car guys, downpipe, tune. If you have any requests for super exhausts, any super people out there, let me know what you think. I got to do something. It's just too quiet, man. Too quiet. Shout out to Gen Z. Said, Frankie, doesn't it look like the one day had a lot of things happening? We had the green dot with the 90-minute money flow crossing into the green, but we also had the SFP on the daily 90-minute bear divs and a 90-minute SFP with the 5-minute bear divs. Yeah, the daily 90-minute money flow crossover, let me just pull that up real quick, right, was helpful for the continuation of the downtrend. We took a look at this on FOMC day, talking about, hey, you got the daily 90-minute 1/16th bearish setup. Bias there on a normal day. Of course, on FOMC, there was totally a chance that totally got stepped on and we swept the liquidity above. But at the end of the day, it did hold true, rejecting the golden pocket, 786 for a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, into our major 63K level, which is very simple. And now we had the kind of the opposite happen with the money flow crossing into the green on the 90-minute and the daily green dot now printing. But again, I am putting a lot less weight on market cipher right now, which I typically do in these choppy environments, just because we have so many time frames pointing against each other. But one thing that will always stand true is the key levels, right? 63.7. Yeah, should we hang out here for a minute and see if we could push down here? But yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton going on here, right? It's just super, super choppy environment. It's oftentimes where you'll see like a lot of this kind of stuff going on. Red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, right? Just like total choppiness. It just gets very difficult. There are environments that are easier to trade than others, and I would say we are definitely not in a super simple trading environment. Shout out to Helicopter Painter. Says, bigger turbo with external weight gate dump. Yeah. I've been thinking about that. Swapping it out for a bigger turbo, I mean, that's like engine work. Probably going to be a little bit of trouble through the ownership of the car, which does annoy me. But I was thinking downpipe tune to start, maybe then get into a bigger turbo. My blow-off valve is already pretty loud. But yeah, that's not a bad. I'm a big nerd for the turbo noises. Shout out to iDesp. Says, I watch I think that's how I don't know how you say that, but he says, watch a few different crypto YouTubers. No shade on the others, as they are all good as well. But gotta say, Frankie's TA always seems the best. Hey, I appreciate that, brother. He has a lot of good information out there as well from other people, too. I appreciate that, though, man. Thanks. I always try to be as logical and non-bias as possible, right? As much as I want to come up here and hype everybody up and say, oh my God, let's go to the moon, right? I always have to base it off of the charts. And unfortunately, like, these are my least favorite times, guys. And you'll know I only went live like twice last week. Trying to preserve my energy a little bit in these super choppy environments, right? Like last week, we looked for the key level of resistance. On Friday, I didn't even put out content. I was in the premium, which we do every day. But I didn't even put out content because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't even come up with anything to say. We have the next key level of resistance sitting there that I already talked about to look where we're looking for shorts. And when we're just bing-bonging around and we haven't hit that level, it would be just a repeat of the same video. So I'm trying to preserve my energy there a little bit in this choppiness. You know, soon will come, right? Before we know it, there's going to be a time where I'm going to have to be putting out 2-3 videos a day, whatever it is. But I appreciate that, man. I worked really hard, and this is my least favorite time to be making content because it's like I could come up here and talk about all these scenarios, and at the end of the day, the charts aren't even giving a really clear view on what's happening. But I always try to come up here and give you guys my best thoughts, which obviously play out very nicely more often than not. So I will leave you with this. Next local key level of support, guys, sitting right here, 63,438 to 62,848. Must hold on top of this level. Once we lose that 786, I'm looking for the bigger move down to the $62,000 level to crack out these lows. Lose that 786, I'm looking to take out this low here, and then at that point, we'll be back inside the profile, heading down towards the POC, and then I think the lower we go, the more bearish the scenario becomes. Next major level of, so this would be the next local level of support to be looking at, and then if we get some kind of crazy rip to the upside tomorrow, the biggest level, in my opinion, to look at is going to be that $68,000 zone. Let me just pull that up one more time. Pull up the liquidity. Ugh, I deleted it. Let me just grab that liquidity again. Got that liquidity sitting right up here. So biggest levels to pay attention to. $68,000 to the upside, right? It's an if this, then that statement. If we come up from here, beautiful. Long continues to play out. I'll stop out of my short and profit, and then I'll look for new setups up here. If we come down first, local level between 62.7 and 63.3. Once we lose that, I'm looking down towards 62 to 61K. And then I'll cover this with you guys as the price action develops tomorrow. Whatever happens, I will update you guys. And I would have to say from a high time frame perspective, I do still technically have to lean a little bit more bearish with that money flow in the red. And I do prefer personally, just from a personal preference perspective, I do prefer to come take down these lows at 60K. But I'll keep you guys updated here on the live streams and the market updates. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us here. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss these urgent market updates. Some of the last market updates have been absolute bangers. Shared the trading plan, played out perfectly. We had the 72K incoming video, the 67K incoming video, all played out perfectly. And again, I'm not going to be right 100% of the time, but you got to be on time to those videos because they are quickly invalidated if price moves quickly. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to, oh my God, the Home Depot house plan. Said, thanks, Frankie. No problem, bro. Shout out to Gen Z. Am I on my face cam yet? There we are. Shout out to Gen Z. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Ash. Welcome back in, brother. It could go to $1 and the live would still be fire. And just your energy is uplifting. Mad respect to you, bro. I appreciate you so much, Ash. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Happy birthday, bro. Shout out to iDeep, Jack, TDK, Raymond, thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Darren, Jesse, and Rob, thank you for everything you guys do here in the chat. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. And hopefully we're off to a great week of trading and price action and not sitting in this chop. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide, never see me coming on my landmine, yeah I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on the road, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor.